Lisa Reeves sat at her communication station on the USS Independence. Her eyes grew wide as strange sounds came through her headset. She adjusted some controls and leaned closer to listen. "Captain Miller, I'm picking up a distress signal," she called out, her voice rising with urgency. Captain John Miller looked up from the report he was reading. He was a tall man with short gray hair and deep lines around his eyes from years of service. He walked over to Lisa's station with quick steps. "Put it on speakers," he ordered. A crackling voice filled the bridge. It spoke in broken sentences with long pauses between words. "This is Nilari Prime. Under attack. Krell forces. Civilians. Need help. Please." The message repeated twice more before cutting off. Everyone on the bridge remained silent for a moment. "Can we confirm the source?" Miller asked. Lisa nodded. "Yes, sir. It's definitely from the Nilari home system. Signal characteristics match their known communication patterns." Miller frowned and turned to his tactical officer, Steve Kelly. "What do we know about the situation in Nilari space?" Steve pulled up information on his screen. "Nothing unusual reported until now, sir. The Nilari are peaceful. They've maintained strict neutrality in the conflict with the Krell. They have minimal defense capabilities. And the Krell would attack them anyway," Miller said quietly. It wasn't a question. The captain walked back to his command chair and sat down. The bridge. Crew watched him, waiting for orders. Miller was known for careful decision-making, but he didn't hesitate now. "Navigation. Plot a course to Nilari Prime, maximum speed," he told Lieutenant Amy Foster. Amy's fingers moved quickly over her controls. "Course plotted, sir. At maximum burn, we'll arrive in 18 hours. "Execute," Miller ordered. The ship hummed as its engines powered up to full capacity. Greg Martinez at the strategic station raised his hand. "Sir, we should inform Alliance Command. This would be a major change to our patrol orders." "I'm aware, Lieutenant," Miller said. "Prepare a message to Command, include the full distress call and our intention to respond. Also, check if any other Alliance ships are in range to assist." Greg worked at his station for a few minutes. "Sir, the Intrepid, Defiance, and Resolute are close enough to meet us there. They could rendezvous with us near the Taurus wormhole if ordered." "Good. Include that in the message to Command," Miller said. "And open a channel to those ships. I want to speak with their captains directly." While Greg prepared the communications, Miller turned to his first officer, Ben Carter. "What do you know about the Nilari, Commander?" Ben thought for a moment. "They're empaths, sir. Can sense emotions from other species. Their biology is adapted for a low-gravity environment with a nitrogen-heavy atmosphere. Physically fragile by our standards, but culturally advanced. They're philosophers, artists, healers. Their medical knowledge is respected throughout the quadrant." Miller nodded. "And the Krell would target them why?" "Resources, most likely," Ben answered. "The Nilari system has significant mineral deposits. The Krell consume everything in their path. They don't make distinctions between military targets and civilian ones." Miller's expression hardened. "Well, they're about to meet people who do make that distinction." He looked around the bridge. "I want all department heads in the briefing. Room in 30 minutes. We need to prepare for combat operations and potential humanitarian assistance." As the crew carried out their orders, Miller stepped to the large viewing window at the front of the bridge. Stars streaked by as the ship accelerated to its maximum speed. He clasped his hands behind his back, standing straight and tall. Lisa approached him carefully. "Sir, I have Admiral Winters from Command responding to our message." Miller turned. "Put her through to my ready room. I'll take it there." In his private office adjacent to the bridge, Miller activated the screen on his desk. The stern face of Admiral Kate Winters appeared. "Captain Miller, I've reviewed your report," she said without greeting. "The situation is concerning." "Yes, Admiral. The Nilari specifically requested help. We're the closest Alliance vessel." Admiral Winters frowned. "The Nilari have maintained neutrality. Their decision to call for human assistance specifically is noteworthy." "They know we'll come," Miller said simply. "Yes." The Admiral's expression softened slightly. "The Galactic Council won't approve of our intervention. They still view us as Unpredictable. Miller allowed himself a small smile. With respect, Admiral, they call us Deathworlders behind our backs, might as well give them a reason. The Council fears us because we evolved on a high-gravity planet with environmental toxins and predators. They don't understand why we would fight for others. Winters paused. But I do. Your request to respond is approved, Captain. I'm ordering the Intrepid, Defiance, and Resolute to join you. I'm also diverting additional forces to your location. Miller's eyebrows rose in surprise. A full battle group? The Krell must learn that attacking peaceful worlds has consequences, Winters said firmly. This may be the confrontation we've been preparing for. The Nalari called for help from Earth because they believe in us. Prove them right, Captain. Yes, Admiral. The screen went dark. Miller sat quietly for a moment, then returned to the bridge. The crew looked at him expectantly. Admiral Winters has approved our mission, he announced. The Intrepid, Defiance, and Resolute will rendezvous with us. Additional forces are being mobilized. A murmur went through the bridge crew. Amy Foster looked up from her station. Sir, does that mean we're at war with the Krell now? Miller considered her question. The Krell have been pushing boundaries for years. They've attacked peaceful species, harvested worlds, ignored treaties. The Alliance has responded cautiously until now. But yes, Lieutenant, this may be the beginning of war. Greg Martinez spoke up. Sir, why would the Nalari call for humans specifically? The Galactic Council has closer forces. Miller walked to the center of the bridge. The Council sees humans as dangerous because of where we come from. Earth's gravity is higher than most inhabited worlds. Our atmosphere would be toxic to many species. We evolved as both prey and predator, which shaped our thinking in ways other species find alarming. He looked around at his crew. But those same traits make us uniquely qualified to fight threats like the Krell. The Nalari understand something the Council doesn't. Sometimes you need Deathworlders on your side. Ben Carter nodded. The Krell don't expect resistance, they certainly don't expect humans. Then let's give them a proper introduction, Miller said. All stations prepare for battle. We have 17 hours to plan our approach. I want options for orbital engagement and ground support. The Nalari called for help and Earth answers. As the Independence raced through space toward the distant distress call, the crew prepared their ship and themselves. They checked weapons, ran combat simulations, and studied everything known about Krell tactics. They were heading into danger, but not one of them questioned their mission. When the Nalari had sent their desperate message into space, they had called for the Deathworlders. Now the Deathworlders were coming. Admiral Kate Winters stood in the command center of Earth Alliance headquarters. Large screens covered the walls, showing ship movements and battle data from across known space. Her attention was fixed on the screens tracking the Independence and the other ships heading to Nalari Prime. 17 Alliance vessels now en route, reported Commander Paul Woods. He was in charge of fleet coordination. The Independence will arrive first, followed by the Intrepid, Defiance, and Resolute. The main battle group is 8 hours behind them. Kate nodded. What's the latest intelligence on Krell forces in the area? Paul pulled up new information on the main screen. Satellite data shows 3 Krell hive ships in orbit around Nalari Prime. Dozens of smaller vessels are visible. They've already begun landing operations on the surface. Kate's face showed no emotion, but her hands tightened at her sides. The Krell were efficient and merciless. Every hour meant more Nalari lives lost. The Galactic Council has requested an emergency meeting, said her diplomatic officer, Diane Reed. They're demanding an explanation for our fleet movements. Tell them I'm busy, Kate replied. The Nalari asked for our help directly. Council permission isn't required under the Mutual Aid Agreement of 2129. Diane looked uncomfortable. The Council is concerned about escalation. They're suggesting a diplomatic approach to the Krell instead. Kate finally turned from the screens to face her staff. The Council has been trying diplomatic approaches with the Krell for 15 years. Meanwhile, the Krell have consumed 6 worlds and enslaved their populations. Her voice was calm but firm. The Council fears what humans might do. They should be more concerned about what the Krell are already doing. She looked back at the tactical display. The Nalari didn't call the Council for help. They called Earth. They called the Deathworlders, and we will answer. Captain Miller and his senior officers gathered in the briefing room of the Independence. Holographic displays showed the Nalari system and all available data on Krell forces. The situation is worse than we thought, Miller told them. The Krell began their attack 30 hours ago. They have orbital control and have landed forces near major population centers. Ben Carter studied the images. Standard Krell invasion pattern. They target civilian areas first to break resistance, then move to resource extraction. What are the Nalari's defenses? Asked Marine Commander Beth Ryan. She would lead any ground forces they deployed. Minimal, Greg Martinez answered. The Nalari have a small defense force, but it's mainly for peacekeeping. They have some orbital platforms, but nothing that could stop a determined Krell attack. Miller pointed to several locations on the map. According to our intelligence, many Nalari civilians have taken refuge in underground complexes. These were built centuries ago during a period of meteor activity, but they serve well as shelters. Are the Krell targeting these shelters? Beth asked. Steve Kelly nodded. They're methodically working their way toward the largest underground complexes. The Krell want to capture Nalari, not just kill them. They use captives as labor. Beth's expression hardened. Not if we get there first. Miller looked at each of his officers. We'll arrive 6 hours before our reinforcements. We'll be outnumbered and outgunned, but we'll have the element of surprise. The Krell don't expect resistance, especially not from humans. What's our plan, sir? Asked Lisa Reeves. Miller activated a different holographic display. We'll drop out of FTL at this position, behind Nalari's largest moon. That should mask our approach. From there, we launch a direct assault on the nearest Krell hive ship to draw their attention and forces away from the planet. That's risky, Ben Carter said quietly. Yes, Miller agreed. But while the Krell focus on us in orbit, Commander Ryan and her Marines will take shuttles to the surface. Their mission will be to secure the largest civilian shelter and establish a defensive perimeter. Beth Ryan nodded. My team is ready, sir. Once our reinforcements arrive, Miller continued, we'll expand our orbital control and deploy more ground forces. Our priority is protecting Nalari civilians until the full battle group arrives. Greg Martinez spoke up. Sir, the Krell significantly outnumber us. Even with the element of surprise, holding them off for 6 hours will be difficult. Miller smiled slightly. Lieutenant, the Krell think in terms of numbers and resources. They believe superiority comes from quantity, but humans know better. He stood straight. Dismissed. Report to your stations and prepare your teams. We arrive at Nalari Prime in 5 hours. As the officers filed out, Miller called to Beth Ryan. Commander, a moment. When they were alone, Miller spoke quietly. Beth, the surface mission is the most dangerous part of this operation. If things go wrong in orbit, I need you to hold that shelter at all costs until reinforcements arrive. Beth nodded seriously. We won't let you down, sir. I know, Miller said. The Nalari have never met humans before. Show them who we really are. On the bridge, as the Independence sped toward Nalari Prime, Amy Foster called out from her navigation station. Captain, I'm detecting unusual energy patterns ahead. Miller looked up. Krell? No, sir, Amy replied. The pattern isn't matching any known Krell signatures. I think it's a Nalari ship. On screen, Miller ordered. The main display showed a small, elegant vessel drifting in space. Its design was organic, almost like a sea creature. Parts of its hull were damaged. Life signs? Miller asked. Lisa checked her instruments. Yes, sir. Faint but present. Approximately 30 Nalari life forms aboard. They're hailing us, Steve announced. Open the channel, Miller said. The screen changed to show the interior of the Nalari ship. A slender, pale being with large blue eyes and translucent skin that glowed softly looked back at them. The Nalari appeared exhausted. Earth vessel, the alien said in accented but clear English. I am Elar, second speaker of Nalari Prime. We thank you for answering our call. Miller stepped forward. I'm Captain John Miller of the Earth Alliance. Vessel Independence. We received your distress signal and came as quickly as possible. Elar's skin pulsed with blue light. The Krell attacked without warning. They target our people, our children. The Galactic Council vessels in nearby sectors did not respond to our calls for aid. We're here now, Miller said firmly, and more Earth ships are coming. Can your vessel still travel? Our engines are damaged, Elar replied. We were fleeing, with children and elders when the Krell intercepted us. We managed to escape but cannot go further. Miller nodded. We'll take you aboard and provide medical assistance. How many Nalari are still on the planet? Millions, Elar said softly. Many have reached the underground shelters, but the Krell are hunting them. Not for much longer, Miller promised. We'll send a shuttle to bring you aboard. The Deathworlders have arrived, Speaker Elar, and we did not come alone. As the Independence prepared to rescue the Nalari refugees, the other Earthships emerged from FTL travel nearby. The small fleet of human vessels moved into formation, weapon systems powering. The battle for Nalari Prime was about to begin. The Independence dropped out of FTL travel behind Nalari's largest moon, exactly as planned. The three other human ships, Intrepid, Defiance, and Resolute, emerged seconds later, taking up positions in attack formation. From their hidden position, the planet Nalari Prime was just visible, its blue-green surface partially covered by wispy white clouds. Captain Miller stood on the bridge, watching as his crew worked with practiced efficiency. The Nalari refugees they had rescued were safely in the medical bay, being treated by Dr. Sam Peters and his team. Sensor sweep complete, Steve Kelly reported from the tactical station. 3 Krell Hive ships in high orbit, 27 smaller, vessels in low orbit, multiple landing craft on the surface. Miller nodded. And they haven't detected us yet? No, sir, Steve confirmed. The moon is blocking their sensors. We still have the element of surprise. Good. Miller turned to Greg. Martinez, Lieutenant, open a secure channel to all Earthships. Greg worked his controls. Channel open, sir. Miller spoke clearly, knowing his words would be heard on all 4 human vessels. This is Captain Miller. The Krell have launched an unprovoked attack on a peaceful world. They are targeting civilians. Our mission is clear. Protect the Nalari people at all costs. Remember your training. Remember why we're here. Independence out. He turned back to his tactical officer. Status of our weapon systems? All railguns. Charged and ready, sir, Steve replied. Missile tubes loaded. Point defense systems online. Miller nodded. And Commander Ryan's team? Marines are in the shuttles ready for launch, Ben Carter answered. They'll depart as soon as we engage the Krell in orbit. Miller took his command chair. Very well. Helm, take us out from behind the moon, 1/4 speed. Tactical, target. The nearest Krell Hive ship. Fire on my command. Amy Foster guided the Independence out from its hiding place. The other human ships followed. For a few moments, there was silence on the bridge as they glided toward their enemies, who remained unaware of their approach. 5,000 kilometers to target, Steve announced. Krell vessels still show no signs of alert. Miller waited until the perfect moment. All ships fire! The Independence shuddered as its main railguns released their first volley. Massive metal projectiles accelerated to nearly the speed of light, crossing the distance to the nearest Krell Hive ship in seconds. The other human vessels fired simultaneously. The Krell ships had strong energy shields designed to stop laser weapons, but they had no defense against solid projectiles moving at relativistic speeds. The railgun rounds tore through the Hive ship, causing massive damage. Direct hits, Steve called out, unable to keep the excitement from his voice. Major damage to the Krell vessel. They're responding, Lisa Reeves warned, detecting power surges across the Krell fleet. They're arming weapons and launching fighters. Miller nodded. As expected, Helm, evasive maneuvers. Tactical, continue targeting the damaged Hive ship. Communications, signal Commander Ryan's team. To launch now. From the Independence's shuttle bay, 4 small craft launched, each carrying a squad of Earth Marines. They accelerated toward Nalari Prime, using the confusion of the space battle as cover. Krell vessels adjusting position, Greg reported. They're moving to engage us directly. The space around the human ships filled with enemy fighters, smaller than Earth vessels. The Krell craft moved with hive mind coordination, dozens of them adjusting their formation simultaneously. Point defense systems engaged, Steve announced as the Independence's secondary weapons began firing at the incoming fighters. Miller watched the tactical display. Helm, bring us closer to the damaged hive ship. Tactical, prepare for another main gun volley. The Independence moved forward, its engines burning bright against the darkness of space. Enemy fire splashed against its shields, causing them to flicker but hold. Shields at 85%, Ben reported. Holding steady, the Independence fired again. This time, the railgun rounds hit the Krell hive ship's main power core. The massive vessel split apart in a silent explosion, debris spinning outward. In all directions. Target destroyed, Steve called out. A cheer went up from the bridge crew, but Miller silenced it with a raised hand. One down, but the fight's just beginning. Status of our marine shuttles? Entering Nalari atmosphere now, Greg replied. Minimal resistance so far. And the other Krell vessels? The remaining 2 hive ships are moving to engage us, Lisa said. They've recalled their fighters from the planet. It's working, sir. They're focusing on us instead of the surface. Miller allowed himself a small smile. That's exactly what we want. Helm, adjust course to keep their attention on us. Lieutenant Martinez, inform the Intrepid and Defiance to target the second hive ship. The Resolute will support us. As the space battle intensified, the 4 Marine shuttles descended through Nalari's atmosphere. Inside the lead shuttle, Commander Beth Ryan checked her combat armor one last time. 24 Earth Marines sat with her, each wearing the advanced battlesuits that were standard issue for human forces. Listen up, Beth called to her troops. Our mission is to secure the main underground shelter and protect the Nalari civilians. Inside. Intel says there are over 10,000 refugees in that location. She brought up a holographic map. Krell forces are concentrated here, here, and here. They have a harvester team moving toward the shelter from the south. We'll land here, set up a defensive perimeter, and engage any Krell that approach. The Marines nodded, their faces serious behind their helmet visors. They had trained for this kind of mission, but this would be their first combat against the Krell. Remember, Beth continued, we're fighting on an alien world to protect an alien species. But there's nothing alien about why we're doing it. The Nalari asked for help, and Earth answered. That's what humans do. The shuttle shook as it hit turbulence in the lower atmosphere. Through the viewport, they could see the Nalari landscape below. Once beautiful cities now showed damage from Krell bombardment. Smoke rose from multiple locations. 30 seconds. To landing, the pilot called back. Beth stood up, magnetic boots keeping her steady as the shuttle descended rapidly. Check your weapons. Helmet sealed. Remember your training. The shuttle touched down with a jolt. The door slid open, and Beth was the first one out, her rifle raised and ready. The other Marines followed quickly, moving into defensive positions around the shuttle. They had landed in what appeared to be a park near a large, dome-shaped building partially buried in the ground. The entrance to the underground shelter was just visible ahead. Area secure, reported Sergeant Joe Evans after a quick scan. No Krell detected in immediate vicinity. Beth nodded. Team 1 with me to the shelter entrance. Team 2 establish a perimeter. Teams 3 and 4 prepared to receive the other shuttles. As they moved forward, a group of Nalari emerged cautiously from the shelter entrance. Like the refugees they had rescued in space, these aliens had pale, translucent skin that glowed softly with blue bioluminescence. They stared at the humans with large, frightened eyes. Beth removed her helmet, showing her face as a gesture of trust. I'm Commander Beth Ryan of the Earth Alliance Marines. We're here to help. One Nalari stepped forward. You are the Deathworlders, the ones who answered our call? Yes, Beth replied simply. And we're here to make sure you stay safe. The Nalari's skin pulsed with light. The Krell will come. They always come. Beth put her helmet back on and checked. Her weapon. Let them come. They'll learn what happens when they face humans. In orbit above, the battle continued to rage as the Earth vessels fought to buy time until reinforcements arrived. Commander Beth Ryan crouched behind a fallen pillar, her rifle ready. The Nalari city around them was eerily quiet except for the distant sound of Krell harvesters. Her Marines had established a defensive perimeter around the underground shelter entrance. So far, they had encountered only light resistance, but their sensors showed a large Krell force moving in their direction. "How many civilians inside?" Beth asked the Nalari leader beside her. The alien skin flickered with blue light patterns. 11,422, the Nalari answered. Mostly children, elders, and caretakers. Beth nodded. "We need to move them deeper into the shelter complex. The Krell will target this entrance when they arrive." The Nalari, who had introduced himself as Marin, gestured toward the dome-shaped building. "There are other entrances to the underground network. We can distribute our people through different sections." "Good idea," Beth said. She activated her helmet communicator. "Evans, Parker, take your squads and secure the secondary entrances. The rest of us will hold position here." The Marines moved with practiced efficiency, breaking into smaller units and heading to their assigned positions. Beth turned back to Marin. "Do your people have any weapons?" Marin's skin dimmed slightly. "Some security forces have pulse rifles, but we are not warriors. The Krell, they move as one mind. Our defenders could not stop them. They've never faced humans before," Beth said with a grim smile. "We evolved on a predator world. We've been fighting since before we could walk." She checked her tactical display. "Krell force approaching from the northeast, approximately 200 units. She looked up at Marin. "Get your people to safety. We'll handle this." The Nalari hesitated. "You are so few against so many." Beth's smile widened behind her helmet visor. "That just makes it a fair fight." As Marin retreated into the shelter, Beth positioned her remaining Marines at key defensive points. The insectoid Krell forces came into view, moving in perfect coordination across the city plaza. They looked like giant ants walking upright, their exoskeletons gleaming in the pale sunlight of Nalari Prime. "Hold fire until they're in range," Beth ordered over the comm. "Target their command nodes, the ones with the red markings." The Marines waited silently as the Krell advanced. When the aliens were just 50 meters away, Beth gave the order. "Fire!" Human weapons erupted, sending hypersonic rounds into the Krell ranks. The Marines had trained for this, aiming for the command units that coordinated the Hive soldiers. Several Krell leaders fell immediately, causing momentary confusion among the others. "Keep firing," Beth ordered. "Focus on their leaders." The Krell returned fire, energy weapons scorching the ground and structures around the human positions. But the Marines had chosen their cover well, and their armor absorbed glancing hits. Beth fired continuously, her movements quick and precise. Growing up on Earth with its high gravity and dangerous environment had given humans natural advantages that many alien species lacked. Their reflexes were faster, their muscles stronger. "Commander, western flank," called Corporal Nick Adams. "They're trying to circle around." Beth saw the Krell movement on her tactical display. "Adams, Rodriguez, shift position to cover the west. Don't let them near the shelter entrance." The battle intensified as more Krell joined the attack. Despite their superior numbers, the aliens struggled to coordinate after losing their command units. The human Marines used this to their advantage, moving between positions, striking quickly, then relocating before the Krell could respond effectively. "Evans, report," Beth called to her second squad. "Secondary entrance secure," Evans replied over the comm. "Light resistance only. We've set up automated defenses." "Good," Beth said. "Be ready to reinforce our position if—" A massive explosion cut her off. A Krell heavy weapon had hit a building nearby, sending debris flying in all directions. Beth ducked as chunks of alien material rained down around her. "Status," she called out. "2 injured, armor holding," Rodriguez reported. "But they're bringing up more heavy weapons." Beth checked her ammunition. "We need to fall back to a more defensible position. All units, tactical retreat to the shelter entrance. Layer your fire as you go." The Marines executed the maneuver perfectly. groups pulling back in sequence while others provided covering fire. As they neared the shelter entrance, Beth saw Marin and several other Nalari watching anxiously. "We can't hold them off forever," Beth told Marin as she reached him. "But we just need to buy time until our reinforcements arrive." "How long?" Marin asked. Beth checked her tactical data. 4 hours, maybe less if her comm unit crackled. "Commander Ryan, this is Captain Miller. Do you copy?" "Ryan here," she responded, relief in her voice. "Good to hear you, Captain. Situation is hot down here." "Understood," Miller replied. "We've destroyed one Krell hive ship and damaged another. They've committed most of their forces to the orbital battle, which is giving you some breathing room on the surface." "Appreciate that, sir," Beth said. "But we've got at least 200 Krell trying to reach this shelter." "Hold position," Miller ordered. "Admiral Winters reports the main battle group will arrive sooner than expected. Just 90 minutes out now." Beth felt a surge of hope. "Copy that. We'll hold." "One more thing," Miller added. "We're sending you a package. Look up." Beth glanced at the sky and saw a small object descending rapidly toward their position. It landed with a thud about 20 meters away. "Sergeant Evans, check that out," she ordered. Evans approached the object cautiously, then called back excitedly. "Commander, it's a supply drop. Advanced weapons, medical supplies, and is that what I think it is?" Beth joined him and grinned when she saw the contents. "Orbital targeting beacons. Captain Miller is giving us some fire support." She quickly distributed the new equipment to her Marines. The targeting beacons would allow them to call down precision strikes from the ships in orbit, a game changer against the Krell ground forces. "Set up the beacons," Beth ordered. "Target their heavy weapons first." As her Marines prepared the new equipment, Beth returned to Marin. "The situation has improved. We can hold the Krell off now." The Nalari's skin glowed brighter. "You are truly remarkable. The Galactic Council calls humans Deathworlders as if it were something to fear, but I see now it is something to admire." Before Beth could respond, her tactical display lit up with new warnings. Multiple Krell signatures approaching. "Looks like they've called for reinforcements too." She raised her rifle. "Get back inside. This fight isn't over yet." The Krell forces regrouped and began advancing again, this time with heavier weapons and armored units. But the human Marines were ready, their new equipment deployed and their positions secured. Beth activated the first targeting beacon and sent the coordinates to the Independence in orbit. Fire support requested on marked position. Seconds later, a brilliant beam of energy shot down from the sky, striking the Krell's largest weapon emplacement. The resulting explosion scattered the alien forces, giving the Marines a moment to adjust their positions. "That's more like it," Beth said, smiling, behind her helmet. "Let's show these Krell what happens when they pick a fight with Earth." Captain Miller watched the tactical display as new ships appeared at the edge of the Nalari system. For a moment, his heart raced, until the identification signals confirmed they were Earth Alliance vessels. "It's the main battle group," Lisa Reeves announced, relief clear in her voice. "Admiral Winters is leading them personally." The bridge crew of the Independence cheered. Their ship had taken damage during the extended battle. Shields were below 40%, and 2 railgun systems were offline. The Resolute had suffered even more severe damage, with parts of its hull exposed to space. But they had held the Krell forces at bay, drawing their attention away from the planet below. "Open a channel to the Admiral," Miller ordered. Admiral Kate Winters appeared on the main screen. Her uniform was crisp, but her eyes showed she had been awake for many hours. "Captain Miller, your ships have done exceptional work." "Thank you, Admiral," Miller replied. "But the situation remains critical. We've lost the Defiance and the Resolute is heavily damaged. The ground teams are holding their positions but facing increased Krell pressure." "I understand," Winters said. "The battle group will engage immediately, but we're not alone." The Admiral's image shifted to show a wider view of her bridge. Standing beside her was a tall, blue-skinned alien in formal diplomatic attire. "Captain, this is Ambassador Zhen of the Altari Collective," Winters introduced. "The Altari have joined our cause, along with ships from the Volus Federation and the Meridian Alliance." Miller couldn't hide his surprise. These were species that typically followed the Galactic Council's non-intervention policies. The Altari ambassador spoke in a melodic voice. The Nalari are peaceful philosophers who harm none. When Earth moved to defend them without hesitation, many of us realized we had been hiding behind Council protocols while innocents suffered. We will no longer stand idle. Miller nodded respectfully. Your help is most welcome, Ambassador. The combined fleet is moving into attack positions, Admiral Winters continued. Captain, concentrate your remaining forces on supporting the ground. Teams, we'll handle the Krell hive ships. Understood, Admiral, Miller replied. The screen returned to the tactical display, now showing dozens of newly arrived ships engaging the Krell forces. Miller turned to his officers. Helm, bring us into low orbit above Commander Ryan's position. Tactical, prepare all remaining weapons for close support fire missions. As the Independence changed course, Ben Carter approached Miller. Sir, the Nalari refugees we rescued are asking to speak with you. Their leader says it's urgent. Miller nodded. I'll see them in the conference room. When Miller entered, he found Ilar, the second speaker of Nalari Prime, waiting with several of his people. The alien's skin glowed with brighter patterns than before. Captain, Ilar greeted him. We have been monitoring your battle from your ship's data systems. Your people fight with remarkable courage. Thank you, Miller said. Reinforcements have arrived. The tide is turning. Yes, Ilar agreed, but there is something we must share with you. Something that may help end this conflict more quickly. The Nalari gestured to a star chart displayed on the room's screen. The Krell have established a forward base in this system, just 2 light years from our homeworld. It serves as their command and supply center for this sector. Miller studied the chart with interest. Our intelligence wasn't aware of this base. The Krell built it in secret using asteroids to hide their presence, Ilar explained. As empaths, some of our people can sense the Krell hive mind at a distance. That is how we discovered their base. And you believe striking this base would help our current situation? Miller asked. The Krell operate as a collective consciousness, Ilar said. Their forces here are connected to their base through quantum links. If the base is destroyed, their forces will be temporarily disoriented, unable to coordinate effectively. Miller considered this information. I'll relay this to Admiral Winters immediately. On the surface of Nalari Prime, Commander Beth Ryan and her Marines continued their defensive fight. The orbital fire support had given them an advantage, but the Krell kept coming in waves, adapting their tactics with each assault. Commander, called Sergeant Evans over the comm, we've got a new problem. Krell diggers approaching from the east. Beth checked her tactical display and saw the threat. The Krell had deployed specialized units designed to burrow underground, potentially giving them access to the shelter from below. Parker, take your squad east, Beth ordered. Use sonic disruptors to collapse any tunnels they start. Adams, set seismic sensors along the eastern perimeter. As her Marines moved to counter the new threat, Beth's comm unit activated. Commander Ryan, this is Captain Miller. The situation is changing rapidly. Admiral Winters has arrived with the main battle group and allied forces. Allied forces? Beth asked, surprised. Yes, Miller confirmed. The Altari, Volus, and Meridians have joined us. The Krell are being engaged on multiple fronts in orbit. Hold your position. This will be over soon. Beth felt a surge of hope. Copy that, Captain. She turned to her Marines. Help is here. The Krell are about to have a very bad day. As if in response to her words, the sky above them lit up with flashes of light as the space battle intensified. Beth could see Krell ships trying to retreat from orbit, only to be intercepted by the newcomers. Marin emerged from the shelter, his skin glowing with excitement. The Krell vessels are withdrawing. Their ground forces are losing coordination. Beth checked her tactical display and saw he was right. The Krell units that had been attacking in perfect synchronization were now moving erratically, some even retreating. What's happening? She asked. Her answer came from Captain Miller. Commander, the Admiral has led a strike force against a hidden Krell command base nearby. The Nalari refugees helped us locate it. The Krell forces are losing their connection to their hive mind. Beth smiled. Orders, sir? Push them back, Miller replied simply. Beth turned to her Marines. You heard the captain. Advance and clear the area. The human forces moved out from their defensive positions, now taking the fight to the confused Krell. Without their perfect coordination, the aliens were no match for trained human soldiers. Marine squads methodically cleared building after building, sector after sector. Within an hour, the last Krell forces near the shelter had either been eliminated or had retreated. Beth stood in the city plaza, watching as Nalari civilians cautiously emerged from the underground complex. Marin approached her, accompanied by many of his people. Their skin glowed with patterns Beth hadn't seen before, bright pulsing colors that seemed to convey joy. Commander Ryan, Marin said formally, the people of Nalari Prime owe you and all humans a debt we can never repay. You came when no one else would. You fought for us when we could not fight for ourselves. Beth removed her helmet. We did what anyone should have done. Marin's skin rippled with color. No. You did what only Deathworlders could do. He gestured to the sky. The Galactic Council feared your kind because you evolved on a dangerous world. They did not understand that this made you uniquely suited to protect others from danger. Around them, human dropships began landing, bringing medical teams and supplies. Admiral Winters had sent the first wave of humanitarian aid, along with additional security forces. Beth's comm unit activated one final time. Commander Ryan, this is Admiral Winters. The Krell fleet has been defeated. Their forces are in full retreat across the sector. The Nalari system is secure. As Beth shared this news with Marin and the gathered Nalari, their skin lit up with brilliant colors, creating a beautiful light show across the plaza. The Nalari began to sing, their voices joining in a melody that somehow conveyed both gratitude and hope. More human ships descended from the sky, and Earth Marines stood side by side with the Nalari people they had saved. The message that had started it all, the desperate SOS from a peaceful world, had been answered. The Deathworlders had come, and they had prevailed. And throughout the galaxy, word began to spread. If you needed protection, if you faced an enemy too powerful to fight alone, the humans of Earth would answer your call. The Deathworlders had become the galaxy's defenders,